This has got to be one of the most bold sequels I've ever seen. Welcome to Bite Size Bunny, my name's Tony, and today we are going to be talking about 28 Years Later. This film is set 28 years after the initial outbreak of the rage virus on mainland England, and in this story we follow a kid named Spike and his parents Jamie and Isla, who live in a small community on an island that is connected to the mainland by a one-way road. After certain events have transpired, they are then forced to travel to the mainland in order to try and find help. And during this nightmarish journey, we get to see how the rage virus has evolved over the course of 28 years, while also getting a very personal, deep human story. This was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and be prepared to get something that is totally going to defy your expectations. Whatever you think this movie is, you're probably going to be wrong about it. Yet at the same time, in a landscape where we get so many legacy sequels that feel like nothing more than cheap cash grabs, 28 Years Later stands out from the bunch and feels like a project that was made out of love and passion for the IP. It's not a perfect movie, but it is something special, and it is one of the best legacy sequels out there. Though I will say, as far as Danny Boyle legacy sequels go, I still think Trainspotting 2 reigns supreme. Starting out with the performances, Alfie Williams as Spike is truly incredible. He is the heart of the film, and watching him interact with his parental characters played by Aaron Taylor Johnson and Jodie Comer is truly impressive. While the other two actors are great, Alfie Williams is able to hold his own here, and he plays off of every one of the other characters in this film so well. I'd say the other standout character and performance in this film has got to be Ralph Fiennes. With all the marketing leading up to this film, it looked like this character was going to be really intense and mysterious, and instead what we get is this beautifully crafted, thought-provoking character that I loved, and I really hope we get to see more of him throughout this trilogy that is planned. When it comes to the narrative, it almost feels like we've got two separate stories that have been interwoven here. The first 45 minutes to an hour is probably what you would expect from a sequel to 28 Years Later. It's really intense, you've got your nail-biter moments, and during this time you're getting reacquainted to the world that Alex Garland and Danny Boyle have created together. Then you've got the second half of 28 Years Later, and you've got something entirely different and unique, and it is a very personal story that tugs at the heartstrings. While the transition in between these two stories does feel a little uneven at first and can take some time to readjust to the new direction the story is headed, it does lead us to some of the best stuff that is in 28 Years Later. I was floored by this film. And my god, the cinematography and editing is spectacular. From a stylistic standpoint, this feels drastically different from what we got in that first film, but at the same time, it manages to capture the essence of that movie in its own unique way. While things may not feel as unnerving, it still has the brutality and the dystopian feel to it. When it comes to the negatives, I don't have a lot of them, but there were a few elements that did pull me out of the experience. Some of the choices characters make throughout this film feel questionable at times, and definitely had me questioning why certain things had to pan out the way they did. And then the last 5 minutes of this movie does feel kind of tacked on. Some people are going to dislike the ending because they think it feels over the top and silly. Personally, that wasn't my issue with it. I was more concerned about the fact that it does feel like a lazy way of setting up the sequel that is currently slated to release next year. It almost feels like an MCU after credit scene, except for unfortunately it's not a post-credit scene that you can just ignore once the credits start rolling. Overall, 28 Years Later may not be the sequel I was expecting, but at the same time it was so much better than that. This is probably going to be a divisive film. I could see how some people would be disappointed by the fact that it's not just another 28 Days Later, but at the same time that's why I loved it so much. It's a way more meaningful sequel that was worth the 20-year wait, and I'm going to be giving 28 Years Later an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. Like, subscribe, and all that YouTube stuff. And what's your favorite zombie movie? I'd love to know.